Welcome to UTA Planetarium's another live star stream. My name is Levent Gürdemir, and in the studio, Jim Bader with me again.
Always.
And we are here with great topics today. What did you say, Jim?
I said I'm always here.
You're
Hiding.
always here, right?
But I'm here.
In a frame window like this. All right, so we will start with another night sky update. Let's see what you can see in the night sky. If you just happen to go outside after like 9:30, 10 o'clock and look at the sky, you will see great constellations. And
I'm going to reset this
see
for you.
lines like this. Let's be a little bit realistic, Jim, and let's bring the actual look of the sky. So
Okay.
there are some great planets that if you are patient enough and if you just wait until like midnight hours and maybe like 1 in the morning, you will see great planets. And there's also a planet hidden in the sky early in the evening. So when I say early in the evening, it's like 9:30. So when you look at the south direction, you can immediately find this constellation right here. There's an orange star located at the center of this constellation, and from the tail part, which is a curly line, you can easily guess what this constellation is. Can we bring up the constellation figure of this? Does it look like a scorpion? Or some people says it's a fish hook.
I think it looks like a J. I might be skewed though.
Look like a
my name's
J?
Jim. I'm just kidding.
So officially it is known as Scorpius or Scorpion. And the orange star is Antares. Antares is a what we say cold star. It's not like freezing cold when we say cold star, but in the temperature scale it is in the low parts. So
Not Mars, right? That's important.
no, it's not Mars. So there's also Mars in the sky. It is not as this orange, but this is one of the most noticeable constellation. You can see it for tonight. So it's in the south direction, you will see, and it's also, as you know, part of zodiac, which have 12 constellations. Let's look at another direction. I would like to see the west direction, because we have something that is super bright in the west direction right here, this object. Do you know which object I am talking about? Can anybody tell me what this is? Let me go on the other side. Have you ever seen anything like this in the sky? Jim, have you ever seen this?
Definitely. Every chance I get. Especially right now. I think this is like my favorite phase of the moon, and because of that favorite time to view the moon, mostly because just because of the way the light looks on there, you can see the craters super well, and it shows a lot of definition. Just with a pair of binoculars, the definition you get is pretty impressive.
Exactly, and even a pair of binoculars or telescope, you can see the craters on the moon, and those craters are formed or created by what? These
large objects in the solar
asteroids. They wander in the solar system, and they are good about hitting on the objects.
We got that question today, sorry, about asteroids, meteors, meteoroids, and meteorites. I don't. This is something that is really an arbitrary thing, oftentimes, right?
Yes.
Um,
So the question is,
asteroids in the asteroid belt.
what are the differences, or what are they?
Yeah.
All right, so the asteroids are basically small pieces of rock orbiting mainly between Mars and Jupiter. Jim, can you maybe warp us to this
Definitely.
solar system view so we can see the location of asteroid belt? So when we look at the solar system, we see that the planets are pretty much in a nice order, starting from Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. But then going to the next planet, Jupiter, there is a very big gap. You can almost like put another planet over it, and it may just look like in order with other planets. So that's not going to be a very squeezed planet. So always we thought that there may be a planet in the past over there, but instead what we realized is there are a lot of small particles of rock, sizes ranging from like maybe like a dust particles to the biggest asteroid, which is named Ceres, which is slightly smaller than our moon. So those are pieces like these, okay? They are wandering in the solar system. The orbits are between the falls between Mars and Jupiter. So those are asteroids. So we are looking into this solar system view. I lost my flight controls. So there must be a flight control somewhere
Me too.
on my desk.
I
Who
stole
took-
it.
Who took my flight control?
We're having some flight control
Okay,
issues,
I have a
unfortunately.
very fancy flight controller, which is an Xbox controller. So I will try to show some parts of the. We'll fly over the solar system. Doesn't work. My flight controls are stuck. All right, so let's continue. So there's an asteroid, and the region is called the asteroid belt because the asteroid, it is a real estate for or a property for to live for asteroids. Again, those are small pieces of rock pieces like these. Okay. Here you go. But not 100% of them are located between Earth and Mars. I'm sorry, Mars and Jupiter. Some of them are also spreading into, going into the territory of other places. Earth, for example, as you can see, Earth is also having a small number of, like not, the densities over here is a lot higher, but there's a small density also wandering over here. And that small density sometimes get into the way of Earth. So then what's happened? So if something goes in front of Earth, the Earth have to collide with it, right? There will be a small accident. So that accident are usually, those are protected by, like the cars are protected by bumpers. The Earth, our planet, is protected by air. The air is surrounding our planet. And one thing we know from airplanes are when the things are moving fast, there is a drag force or friction force applied to it. So that actually makes the air travel is very expensive because it's such a long distance, but also in the air, the airplanes have to fight with drag force all the time. And constantly the jet engines have to push the airplanes forward to win the drag force so they can continue on their path. The similar happens when the pieces of rock tries to collide with a planet. Earth's air applies drag force on it. So as a result, the asteroid, now called meteor, in the sky slows down. In the meantime, starts burning because the friction causes fire on the surface of the rock, and it shows as a fireball. Usually it is very short-lived event, takes only a few seconds, and sometimes they are spectacular, sometimes they are just point of light. They just go into the sky. Public knows it as shooting stars. Those are meteor events. I hope everyone is with me so far. So let's continue on what is a meteorite. So a meteorite is, they usually completely burn in the sky. By the way, this is a very exaggerated version of like a falling meteor, because those are usually a pebble-sized meteors. So this is considered very big meteor. So if not burned completely, if like let's say that the meteor is big to start with, let's say a basketball size or a bigger size. Certainly I'm not talking about like car size meteors. Those are going to be a problem. If they don't burn completely, the small piece will end up in the ground. Well, probably in water, but small chance in the ground. If you find it, you call it meteorite. And as old planetarium joke says, there is no such thing like meteor wrong.
Yeah.
They are always meteorite.
And for all the calls and people who bring us rocks and check, the quickest way to test, and this is not foolproof, but try to stick a magnet to it, right? And if the magnet sticks, might be a meteorite, might. And if it doesn't stick, probably a meteor, as you said, wrong.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are meteorites that do not contain rich iron components, so they may be not attractive to magnets. But still, they may be something from outer space. But this is maybe like the first thing to do: test with a magnet, and if there is iron, because I know, like on the surface of Earth, the rock we find that is not rich for irons. All right.
Yep.
So I hope this answers the question. Right?
Hopefully. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It did.
Can
I thought
we
it was interesting.
can we
comment.
move on? Can we continue with?
Certainly. Let's go back to the sky.
Yeah, let's go back to the sky.
As
And
it
if
would
you would like to see any other place with the solar system, let me know so I can just fly you there, or I can try at least. So we were in the night sky, right?
Yeah, I'll try to get us
So,
back as quickly as possible.
I heard there is another super moon is coming, right?
Yeah, supposedly.
Just another one. They don't.
But I mean, I think you should probably comment on the specifics. I mean, it's kind of like it doesn't really make sense, right? Not always. Supermoon means like they say that when it's near apogee, perigee, but
Well, as we said over and over, the moon has elliptical orbit, and like any elliptical orbit, the moon gets slightly closer during its path and slightly farther during its path. So when it is in the close or closest position, if there is a full moon that night, they call it supermoon. Yes, the moon looks slightly larger in the sky, but that slightly is important over here because the difference is not much. And when the difference is not much, and since you don't get to compare the size of the moon with the last month's full moon, if you remember, you are not going to notice anything. I am not going to notice anything on the moon, and so far I have not noticed anything. But
also plenty of people didn't consider this month's moon a super moon, but this is a good reason or time, I think, to bring up. It's kind of a flimsy name for it.
Exactly, and I hear maybe super moon term like 4 times, 5 times a year, but always the headlines have a subtitle and says this is a very rare event that happens in once in a 4,000 years.
Yeah.
All the time. If you just look through the headlines of super moon events, they always claim that is not going to be seen until year 5,000 or something. So that's a very typical event actually. But there is about the size of the moon, there is another optical illusion event that a lot of people mistakenly thinks that when the full moon is lower in the horizon at the beginning of the day, it looks huge, big, and as it goes up in the sky toward midnight, it gets smaller and smaller. And usually people say, why the moon size change in the course of a night? And it does not. If you actually get
But it feels like it does, Levent. It feels like it does.
That's an optical illusion, and sometimes, this optical illusion is true for a lot of things, and sometimes it's a perception error. And that perception error thinks that when the moon is lower in the horizon, the perception is the moon feels closer. It is accessible. It is almost touchable. So our brain translates into a big, but up in the sky is far. And when moon goes over there, up in the sky, high in the sky, again, it's just the perception gets it's small. If you can just do the experiment, you can find a I mean, if you just keep yourself at the same distance, you can just draw the moon size on a window. Just I mean, maybe like measure, just situate yourself like maybe 1 feet from a window, and just mark the size of the moon with a I don't know, the blackboard marker or something that you can erase later. Not permanent marker. I have kids, so the result is not good if you use permanent marker. And then wait for moon go up in the sky, and stay at the same distance from the window and mark the location. It's going to be higher location. But then you measure the two markings, and you will find they are exactly the same. If they are not exactly the same, that means you did not situate yourself equally enough in the both events. So double check that too. All right.
That is one of those phenomenon, Levent, that just blows my mind. There's several of those, but I mean, it looks so much bigger. I don't think anyone can deny it without the measuring thing you're saying.
Well, you know, the perception thing is, you know, like sometimes the cars and trucks headlights go out of alignment, and you are looking at a truck. I'm giving truck example because their headlights are mainly brighter and more separated. So it is approaching to you, and one of the headlight is dimmer than, or looks dimmer than the other one. So you immediately think that there are two motorcycles coming towards me. One motorcycle is closer, the other motorcycle is farther. So that's also a perception error.
Yeah,
that happens a lot. So a brighter thing looks closer, bigger, better, and sometimes. Anyway,
we have 3 more points of light. I think you need to mention real fast before we
yes,
move on to the next thing.
in the west direction. So you will see something like this in the west direction. Low in the horizon, you will see twin stars. Those are bright stars of constellation Gemini, Pollux, and Castor. And here, this is not a star. This is a planet. This is a red, rusty planet, Mars. And we talked a lot about Mars, right? The drone, the Perseverance rover.
And this is about 10 p.m. tonight on the western horizon.
Possibility of life. So this may be your last chance to catch Mars, because it's going to be lower and lower in the sky, and you won't get to see it. So look at the night sky at like around 10 p.m. West direction. You shall see the red planet just left to these twin stars of Gemini.
All right, then stay up a little bit later.
All right, let's look at the other direction now from the east. The stars are rising from the east, and we are rolling time forward to midnight hours. And it is past midnight. There will be 2 bright things are going to be coming up in the sky. The higher one is going to be Saturn, and the lower one is going to be somewhere around here. Here you go, Jupiter, the largest planet of the solar system. So if you have access to a telescope, and if you just look at them, you will see these things like these. And especially Saturn's rings are, it's beautiful. They are visible to any size of telescope. It is the 2nd largest planet, but this is the only planet that we can see rings around it.
Yeah, we are nearing opposition for Saturn and
Yes.
Jupiter. Not too far away. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, but
We cannot see Jupiter's ring from ground because it's so tiny, but what we can see is the surface features, the brown stripes, brown and white stripes across the surface. What they are the boundaries of strong, stormy regions. There's a lot of storms going on the surface of Jupiter. So 2 great planets visible in the sky. The 2 bright pinpoint light is going to be in the early morning, are going to be
and these won't they won't both be visible until I think 1:30 is what the time is right then. So
also you need a clear obstruction-free view of east.
definitely. Okay, cool. That does for the update. It's my turn to take over the news, right?
Yes.
It's news time. So let's switch over to something I'm excited. If you guys didn't watch us last week, we talked about the annular eclipse that was going to happen the next day, or last Thursday on June 10th. It was awesome. We got so many good photos, and I was going through the internet trying to find it, and I thought I'll compile my own list, and then it just seemed pointless if there were other lists that were so good already compiled. So we're just gonna cheat through one of those real fast, for the sake of simplicity, and so you guys get a better view. Anyway, let's have a look at those. Here we go. Let's start with London, Delaware, but there's one in particular that I really, really liked here. So this is over New York City that we're looking at right now. Event.
Looks like a crescent moon.
It does. Actually, what makes me laugh is it looks quite a lot like our logos. That just felt really good. But there's one more down here that just seemed perfect. This Washington, D.C. photo. This is this photo is by Bill Ingalls. He does a lot of photos for NASA. This one just looks beautiful. What an incredible photo. And then here, almost perfect UTA Planetarium logo there from Massachusetts. The farther north you get, the better your photos. So, of course, when you get to Toronto, you get really good view. And then this one, that just looks... I mean, if you did a swap on that, that is our logo symbol in there. So, I don't know, kind of neat. I thought it was important to point these out. If you missed it yourself, we have good news, right, Levin? If you didn't get to see it yourself, it's okay, because just in 2 years, we get one here in Texas. So another annular eclipse, the same type. We don't get a total solar eclipse just yet. It should be October 14th of 2023, and it's going to pass pretty close. So we can see it here. It will pass, if I get out of the way, right through San Antonio and West Texas. You'll have a pretty good view of it from quite a lot of Texas, but it also means lots of people close to us will have good photos. So I'm excited for it. Should be interesting. We'll do something here, that's for sure. It'll be a bit of a dry run for us for the next year, right?
We have 2 years.
Yeah. Okay.
And in the following year is going to be more exciting. Should we just keep them as a secret?
I mean, I hope that it's not a secret for that. I hope they all know already. We'll have to see.
All right.
No, you got to tell them. Come on, you know what's going on. We got to...
Let's tell them later.
Okay, okay.
What is happening in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in 2024?
Yeah. Great question. Big deal. Huge deal. Anyway, other interesting news. I was so hoping we were going to have news for you guys today about the Chinese Space Agency sending, I want to call them astronauts, but like in Russia or the Soviet Union, they don't call them astronauts all the time. They call them cosmonauts. And the Chinese astronauts call themselves taikonauts. So a little different, but astronauts is more simple for me to say. So we're going to say astronauts. They're going to send some astronauts to the Chinese space station. It's not complete yet. It's on its way to completion. But that was supposed to launch today, and it was kind of up in the air. It looks like they're going to be launching or shooting to launch tomorrow. So we'll see for that tomorrow. Right now, all they have built, I don't know if you want to kind of point this out for me, Levent, is the Tianhe portion. Mm-hmm. So this is the only chunk that's actually there. It's listed as Tianhe. However, over the next few years, they're going to be implementing the rest of this. And I think they have 11 launches, 8 launches left, if I'm not mistaken. And what's kind of crazy is its 15-year lifespan means it will most certainly outlast the International Space Station, but also kind of sets China up to have the only active space station with humans on it around the Earth. Because I think the last date that they listed for ISS was 2024. Although it seems like most people think that they will push it to 2028. But we don't have much time left in the International Space Station before they're worried about too much degradation. Space is a scary place. I don't know, it's kind of crazy.
Certainly, yeah. On one side, it's great to see those developments. On the other side, I really would like to listen some presentations about the use and benefits because I think that's expensive for any country. The money comes from the taxpayers, and I'm sure there's a great benefit, but I will prefer that benefits are more like publicly available and announced. But hopefully they will do it. So we'll learn what can be done because this is one of the things. The question I'm just having trouble to answer. Like, what is the purpose of the space station? What are they doing today in space? I don't know. I mean, there are astronauts. They are certainly doing something.
Lots of experiments. They're
lots
doing
of experiments, but
hours and hours.
there is no good source to just find those
experiments.
Like what's going on today or this month at the space station.
Sure. Well, China also plans to do lots and lots of space research. That's the point of it. It's just too gigantic. If I get out of the way again, you can see two gigantic experiment modules. Just they're going to have several experiments running at a time. I don't remember exactly how many experiment bays they plan on having there, but a lot. Certainly a lot.
Well, the space station gives the laboratory of gravitation-free environment.
Yes.
So if with a lot of drug development, if the gravity force is affecting the experiment, so the space station is the best place to do it.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff that they're testing for future space flight and future space missions in general.
Yes.
Not just that whole tons of technology. It's really interesting to see, though. It's certainly not nearly as big as the International Space Station. I think it's not even half the size overall. The International Space Station is humongous. It is really, really big. But I guess they have lifespans, which is not something I ever really thought about to be a real problem. Anyway, I guess, Levent, this does for most of my news today. We have some possible guest appearances in future episodes. We can't announce it just yet, but hopefully we can get it out in the next few days.
Yeah, I will try next week to bring a guest, and we will have some interesting topics to talk about. We'll talk about gravity. We'll talk about, especially nowadays, a lot of people are asking about these warp drives, and they are questioning whether the interstellar travel is possible. I think the discussion started with this the UFO stories, which are going to be revealed. I mean, they confirmed that the UFO, that there is no confirmed UFO sightings over the planet, but there are some certainly interesting things, and that the people started asking that, like, would it be possible for aliens, if they existed, to come all the way over to our planet and make sightings like these? And also another question is, if we can travel, let's say we find a planet around another star, and that star seems to be close, and we suspect that there's a life on it. So can we actually go? Can we design and make a spaceship or send a rover or send a drone or something that we can explore this? So we will touch to these areas a little bit. Of course, we'll give the scientific perspective and the realistic answers to those about what we know and what we don't know today for physics, that whether we can make it possible or not possible.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. So yeah, that does it for today. We're at time, only a minute over. So
okay, first time ever, right? We are on time.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up.
Certainly. See you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.